Hey there, guys. Welcome to the Holy Shed. Thanks for dropping by, and hope you're doing well. Hope you're surviving all that glorious greyness out there that we call January. Uh, I know I am. I mean, I dragged myself out of bed this morning. It was a bit chilly out there, isn't it? But I dragged myself out to do a pause for thought on Radio 2 on the Sunday morning programme. It was all about courage. The subject was about people and things that inspire you to be courageous. So I talked about my dad, who died when I was 17. And yeah, it was really good talking about him. And if you want to take a listen to all of that, well, it's on BBC Sounds, on the Sounds app. And yeah, you can get an earful there. I just want to also mention this book here, which is called To Inclusion and Beyond, Evangelical and Affirming LGBTQ plus Relationships and Equal Marriage. And it's by Danny Brierley, who is a Baptist minister, I believe, and someone who is very wise and clearly loves Scripture because, from an evangelical perspective, he has looked at all the scriptures that can possibly be, used to refer to this subject and coming to a very affirming and positive, inclusive conclusion. I've read it. I think it's really, really good stuff. And so if that's something that interests you, I recommend this book to you. Danny Brierley, To Inclusion and Beyond. Okay, well, through these early holy sheds of January, we've been thinking about Mary of Nazareth, the mother of Jesus. And I began by trying to retrieve her humanity, really, retrieve Mary the human being, and to get a sense of what an amazing person she must have been, too often reduced to a compliant vessel of divine purpose within much Protestantism, and exalted to a place of, ultimate perfection, near deified within sections of Catholicism, both of which I have been arguing fail to do justice to not just the humanity, but to the strong, feisty, full-blooded humanity that I think we can glimpse in the Gospels of Mary, especially in her famous liberation song, the Magnificat. Evangelicals, as far as I can see, tend to dehumanize Mary by objectifying her as a kind of theological cog, if you like, in the mechanism of establishing the divinity of Christ. She was a vessel, it seems to me, of little importance other than in bearing the Christ child. She's a blank canvas for the bigger, greater picture of her son, the really, big star of the show. But I'm really interested in why the vaster proportion of Christendom, both Catholic and Orthodox in particular, have been preoccupied with this ordinary woman from Nazareth, exalting her, as I say, to, a very high status. And I think the reason for this is that she symbolizes something more than her biological person, something which fills a massive gap, a need in the human relationship with God. And that is the need of the femininity. I think that the great Catholic theologian and scientist Teilhard de Chardin hit the nail smack on the head when he said that the cult of Mary in the church served to satisfy an irresistible Christian need, the need to correct what he calls a dreadfully masculinized conception of the Godhead. Dreadfully masculinized conception of the Godhead. Mary gave birth to Jesus, who is recognized as God's son. We know this, but it's led to a bigger jump, really, because in calling Mary Theotokos, the Greek word which is used to say Mother of God, by calling her Mother of God, a huge leap has been taken. And, if we do take that idea literally, well, it's ridiculous, because motherhood, fatherhood, daughter, son, all of these things are human phenomena, right? God cannot have a mother or a son as such. But as symbols, these things can make a lot of sense. People in some traditions pray to Mary because it's mother love, I think, that they feel in need of. Compassion, tenderness, nurture, these qualities that are generally associated with the maternal side of our experience. Theological technicalities and the like are bypassed in this process and irrelevant when it comes to, instinctual needs and longings. So when we look at an image like this, for example, and it's a great image, it's called Mary, Star of the Sea, and it's a very, it's a widespread image that's been formulated in many ways over the centuries, really. But when we look at an image like this, we can imagine families of mariners longing for the safe return of loved ones, and the vision of a strong maternal figure guiding them on their journey, guiding them safely home, like the star guided the Magi to the Christ child. We can see that this is a very powerful image, and it's for this reason that many coastal churches are named Stella Maris, which is another way of expressing Star of the Sea. And I like it. I think I particularly like this image. There are lots of much more kind of fuddy-duddy sort of ones, but I like this one. And that little boat down there in peril on the sea. And so Mary has been looked to. She is a patron saint of seafarers, and she's been looked to for centuries as someone who would guide and support and protect people who are out at sea. But I really like this version of it, which is one by Kelly Lattimore, whose work we're always looking at here in the shed, because he said he wanted to depict this in another way. And if you look at this image, you'll see, to the back, to the left of Mary, there's a refugee boat, and then to the right of her, there's a lifeguard boat coming to the rescue. And this is what he says about this image. He said, in this icon, I have Mary, who is also called the protectress of the oppressed, guiding a rescue boat to large groups of migrants out at sea. Refugees and migrants, he says, are continuing to make these voyages out to sea to find a better life for their families. However, the migrant sea routes have become some of the most dangerous. According to the Migration Data Portal, since 2014, more than 4,000 fatalities have been recorded annually on migratory routes worldwide. 2023, which I think is probably round about when he wrote this, marked the deadliest year with more than 8,000 deaths recorded. Many countries, he continues, have begun to refuse aid to refugees and migrant boats attempting to come ashore. Many boats are not able to make the journeys at all, or can become lost and quickly carried out into the open ocean. Thankfully, there are many organisations that now patrol the various sea routes that migrants are taking, and when they find boats, they're able to bring everyone aboard and safely to various refugee camps. The people making these journeys, Kelly says, are sacred. And that's, of course, what lies behind his icon. It's my hope, he says, that this icon isn't a version of Mary just up in the clouds, but also down in the water with the lowly and oppressed peoples of the earth. Yeah, I like that very much. Kelly himself grew up in a small Protestant denomination in America, the son of a pastor, but it's very clear from all of his icons that he clearly understands Catholic spirituality. He's painted many icons of Mary, but I especially like this one. It's called Mary, Love Forever Being Born. I mean, it's a beautiful Madonna-like image of Mary because she's cradling. But it's not the traditional Madonna holding a baby in her arms, but rather cradling the cosmos. And she's wearing it as a robe. She's dressed in the stars and the constellations, cherishing each one of them. So this one is conveying something huge here. God's loving care and vision for the whole of the universe, expressed in Mary's embrace. It's great, isn't it? Now, look, when the families of sailors prayed, or do pray still, to Mary, Star of the Sea, I can't think that they are, cogitating all the theological technicalities of who their prayers are directed to. Ultimately, prayers are directed to God. But how do we picture God? Or how do we sense God emotionally rather than just rationally? Kelly Lattimore, I think, has got it right. It's all about love. Every mother gives birth to love in the world when they have a baby. But Mary did so in a very particular way. She gave birth to love in the world in the person of Jesus. And historically, but still today, people have needed to sense the mothering love of God in certain circumstances, cherishing, protecting, and caring for loved ones, whether that's out at sea or in any other circumstances. And so you can see how this woman, with this deep association with Jesus and seen by giving birth to him to be Mother of God, you can see how Mary becomes a conductor for the prayers and longings and anxieties and aspirations of people everywhere who are looking for a maternal expression of the divine. The problem is, as Teilhard de Chardin said, so much Christianity has been filtered through what he called dreadfully masculinized conceptions of the Godhead. And this has been reinforced over and over in the church by picturing Eve, for instance, a woman, as the doorway of sin into the world. She's forever blighted by being seen in that way. And hence, from that, women in general often have been seen as the seductress, soiling good men and dragging them down as Eve did with Adam. Patriarchal notions of God have also been peddled and reinforced by the silly idea of male headship. What is that? Male headship, especially in marriage and in the family, as if men reflected and represented God and God's presence in a way that women couldn't, and it's also been reinforced through exclusively male priesthood and leadership in the church and so on and so forth. I mean, look, guys, it's all blinking nonsense. And it's opened the door for all kinds of male abuse and bullying and put down. And I know that some of you lovely women out there have experienced this. I know because you tell me about it. I think icons and images of Mary, like those created by Kelly Lattimore, are fabulous, conveying the idea that womanhood is about love forever being born into the world. But we also need radical reform, right? It's not just, let's have something that counterbalances, some femininity to counterbalance the maleness. No, I think we need radical reform of our vision and portrayal of God, which has been channeled for centuries through patriarchy. The message conveyed in a book by the same name is God is male. I remember having big arguments with the man who wrote that book. Um, he wrote me some pretty harsh things when I made some public criticism of his book. God is male? What? You know, in subtle and brutal ways, the idea that God is male leads to an outcome of male is God. It's bound to. And do you know what? It's got to stop, because it's a pernicious lie. God is not male. God is the source of all that is good and loving and just and peaceful, expressed through femininity, masculinity, and all the variants of and in between, because to be human is to love, and to love is to be human. I think that which dehumanizes is that which is not rooted in love. All that comes from a place of real love is something that humanizes both the lover and the people being loved. Our friend Meg Rowe, who is an artist, is helping to reform traditional patriarchal images of God with her wonderful paintings and her icons, and particularly her remake of the icon of the Holy Trinity by the Russian iconographer Andrei Rublev. The icon that Rublev painted back in the 16th century, by the way, presented androgynous figures of the Trinity, not masculine, but figures that you couldn't really place on that spectrum. But Meg has gone further with her icon here, which is called After Rublev, in which she has portrayed females as well as a male, who are all non-white, and these are pictured there as God. And they're all real people, by the way, the models for this painting. They were all members of St. Luke's church community when I was there. More recently, Meg has posted an image which she's calling Refugee Trinity after Rublev. And again, this is modelled by real people, refugees. I love it, don't you? I mean, well done, Meg, I would say. And, you should check out her work. Go to her website, Meg Rowe, and see more of these images that she's created. All of which basically brings us back to the idea that Mary is herself an icon, as a person. She's an icon of all humanity. So just as she gave birth to love in the birth of Jesus, so we too can give birth to love in the world. Just as she mothered God, so we can mother God in the world. And I think that's what we've got to do, guys. In a world of fear and danger and abuse and hopelessness, we need to get out there and give birth to love, through our actions, through our attitudes, and through our support to people who are vulnerable or marginalized or whatever it is. This is the spirit of the Magnificat, the lifting up of the lowly, the pulling down of the mighty. And I think that at this moment in time, I mean, as I'm speaking this, it's sort of on the eve of Donald Trump's inauguration as President of the United States. And I think many of you feel like me, quite sort of nervous and fearful about what is going to unfold from this. And I don't want to automatically assume all the very worst, but my goodness, the signs from what we see in this man and what we hear of what he intends to do sends shudders down the spine. And so in the light of that, I think that returning to this understanding of the feminine dimension to who God is a really vital thing, really. So here's a prayer, I think. to life, L'chaim. God of constant new beginnings, life force, animating all that lives, source of timeless evolution of planets and species, cradle of mind-boggling biodiversity from genes to ecosystems, from microbes to humans, to the very atmosphere itself, which sustains all. 1 billion years is a twinkle in your eye, yet here are we, mere grass, blossoming today and gone tomorrow, yet mystifyingly precious in your sight. Standing as we do in the midst of quotidian awe and wonder, we raise a glass to all that is and all that's still to be in this staggering adventure of life. To life, L'chaim. You might like to join me in that, actually. I mean, that's a toast for you right there. I've got some very good Lambeth juice here. And so whatever you've got, I ask you to join me. Raise a glass or a mug or whatever to life, L'chaim. Great. Well, that's about it for today. If you like what I'm doing in the shed, you can support us. You can buy us a coffee. You just have to follow the link on the screen right now. And we're deeply grateful to those of you who support us in this way and other ways too. It's much, much appreciated. So this week I am leading Soul Space, which we're coming up toward Candlemas, and so 23rd of January this week, a moment of wonder, the beauty of Candlemas. And if you've never been to a Soul Space, do come and join us, because I think it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of inspiring music and images and prayers and stories, and it's for just under an hour. It'd be great to have you. Okay, well, I am going to finish with a song. And as I say, thinking about the inauguration of Donald Trump and certainly, what that feels like for people who, are immigrants or who are, wanting to find refuge. I've got this incredible song by an Irish singer called Susie Quirk. She's also a meditation leader, as far as I can see, a really lovely person. And she wrote this song called Home, and it's about the people who are journeying, trying to look for somewhere that's safe and secure and that's better, for them and their families. And the video that she's put together with it, I think, is incredible. And I think that the beautiful Madonna is very much present in this song. So I hope you enjoy this. Have a great week. Be kind to people. Kindness is what love looks like in action. And so love yourselves too. Be kind to yourself. And I'll see you soon. See you guys. Enjoy this.
I know
freaking love that. I mean, that's the spirit of the Magnificat right there. And thank you so much to Susie for giving me permission to use that here. Go out there. Give birth to love. See you soon.